How could Cinder be in the Reignited trilogy? Let's find out. What's up guys, King Guy here, and back with a video talking, once again, a huge subject among the Spyro fandom, especially the Legend of Spyro fans. That is, should Cinder be in the Reignited trilogy? People say that the fact that Coco being a skin in the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, why couldn't Cinder be the same thing? It would be inclusive to the Legend of Spyro community and would try to bring the fandoms together. If you don't want to play as Cinder, then just play Spyro. It would be only an optional skin, right? The idea sounds bulletproof. So, should Cinder be a skin in the Reignited trilogy? Well, no. No, she shouldn't. I know I made an argument in previous videos saying that perhaps Cinder would be a good idea as a skin. But then I kind of realized something. Cinder has a deep backstory. She went through horrid and terrible things. To simply have her as a cheap skin is kind of demeaning to her character. See, a character like Flame would be more appropriate. He really is not all that important of a character to the Spyro universe, but Cinder could have an important role to play because of the depth of her character. This also proves difficult in a technical sense. If she were a skin, what would happen in cinematics? Would that mean she would need another person to come in and voice all of Spyro's lines except for Cinder? Then adjust all the characters in all three games to where they say Spyro and or Cinder? No, they would not do that. That would cost way too much money in terms of bringing everyone back to simply reword some dialogue. That won't happen. What would need to happen would be each time the Cinder skin would talk to someone where Spyro has dialogue, a fairy would likely show up, zap Cinder back to Spyro, then after the cutscene is ended, zap him back to Cinder. But again, in doing this, you're putting Cinder's character in the trunk and calling her an over-glorified palette swap, which just kills her character. I just don't think a skin would work out well in the end. So, should Cinder be in the Reignited trilogy as a skin? No. But should she be in the Reignited trilogy? Actually, perhaps there's still a way. Now, I can hear people about to jump up and say something, so I'm gonna say right away that I agree with you. Cinder was not in the original games. Therefore, she should not be in the original Reignited games either. This is a remaster / remake, whatever you want to call it, and should stay true to its roots. If Cinder is not in the original games, neither should she be in these games. Now you might be confused with this video so far. I just said that there could be a way for Cinder to be in the Reignited trilogy, but if the originals did not have her, she should not be in the game. How can that work? How does that work? That is where I turn to my good old pal, Crash Bandicoot. Vicarious Visions released a recent DLC for Crash Bandicoot Warped, of a brand new level that was made from the ground up called Future Tense. This whole level was something new for all Crash fans, and was received overall very well. This level, I believe, was a test by Vicarious Visions to see if they could emulate the Naughty Dog feel and create a level that the original fans would love. If they achieved it, they could make progress towards a brand spanking new Crash Bandicoot game built from the ground up. Now, what is the saying that I have said over and over and over again on this channel? Whatever happens to Crash, happens to Spyro. They are essentially IP brothers. So, what does Crash Bandicoot have to do with Cinder? Here is my pitch. Toys for Bob could release DLC for Spyro Reignited trilogy, specifically for Spyro Year of the Dragon. The DLC could be an entirely new homeworld with more eggs and levels to finish. There could even be one specific level that is quite difficult and challenging for even veteran players, i.e. Future Tense or Stormy Ascent. But in Year of the Dragon, in each homeworld, there is a new playable character that has their own levels, Sheila and Sergeant Bird to name a few. What if, in this new homeworld, the new character that you have to uncage from the greedy moneybags is actually Cinder? After you uncage her, she has to go back and figure out dealings from her world and sort out the problems happening there. This allows Toys for Bob to give her a character, a story, not just a skin for the hero, her own standalone character. She can have her own abilities that are entirely different from Spyro, play differently, voice differently, and have levels catered to her and her purpose. Now, what does this achieve? First off, this DLC gives us more of an excuse to play more of Spyro, but doesn't touch the magic of the original trilogy. Secondly, it allows Toys for Bob to practice making levels for a future Spyro game and allows us to give community feedback on what we liked and what we didn't like so that they can gauge and adjust for their version of Spyro 4. Toys for Bob lately has been known to be very community driven. Thirdly, if this DLC really does not interest you in any way, shape, or form, you do not need to download it. And lastly, and most important in terms of the subject of this video, it brings Cinder in as a character for future possible plot use for Toys for Bob. She's not just a skin now, she would be a new character tied into the original Spyro trilogy. Well, the Reignited trilogy. Now her story could easily be rewritten and adjusted for the simplicity and straightforwardness that is the original Spyro, and would help appease the original Spyro fans, as some are not quite fond of the nature of the Legend series, but could still bring over the essence of that tragic story of Cinder. Thanks so much for watching. Cue the extra.